begin the topic of LTE key performance index. What is that LTE key performance index is? LTE is a technology which we are using day to day in our day-to-day activities, day-to-day life. So, like earlier, we are using 2G, 3G, and now there is LTE, and now we are enhancing more. We are going towards the 5G also. Key performance index is nothing but the health of any network. Like whatever we are using, like whatever technology we are using, if we are using 2G, if we are using 3G, if we are using 4G, in everything we are using the key performance indicator to maintain our health. Likewise, we are maintaining our health. Like if we are going to the doctors, they are checking our health, like what is our blood sugar is, what is our glucose level is, what is our health rate, all the things. Likewise, we are using the key performance indicator in the network to check the health, so that we are not getting any penalty from the tribe. If we are going, the try sets some threshold values for that key performance index. If we are going beyond that threshold value, then they are going to penalty the operator for that. So to begin with, here's the course content. We are just introducing the LTE evolution of the cellular. Then LTE architecture, type of counters. Counters are involved in the key KPIs monitoring and type of KPIs. So I'm just beginning with the introduction section. LTE is a way forward from the 3G. Earlier we are using 3G and we are getting a throughput of around 21 Mbps. Now in LTE we are using OFDMA and SCFDMA as a technology, and in 2G we are using in 3G we are using CDMA as a technology. In 4G we are getting good throughput because of the higher bandwidth, because we are using around 20 megahertz of bandwidth. We have variable bandwidth options is there in the LTE. So LTE is a game changer for a mobile revolution. If we come on the evolutions of the cellular network, in earlier 90s, it's basically three features. One is connect, one is engage, and next is transform. In connect, in 1990s, our GSM will come. GSM come in the cellular networks. In that, we have one phone which is a keypad phone by which we can able to connect to each other. We are doing the calls, we are exchanging the messages, and as the investment will advancement will happen in the network, cellular network, we are using more cellular network for the gaming, for the internet. For that we need a network which we can operate with a with, by which we can do these things. For that we introduced 3G in 2000. Here comes the 3G, which is using, for which we are using HSDPA EUL as a technologies, and we got a phone which is a app based phone. We have lot of apps, we can play games, we can surf the internet in that. For with this 2000 and 3G technology, we got enhancement. We can use, now we can use Google, we can do the video calls using Skype, and through the cellular network also. 3G is a video calling network, and we are using YouTube also. And the subscriber base is also increasing day by day, means more subscribers will be added in the network. For that we need a technology which can handle more users, more throughputs to use these technologies. So in 2010 we got a technology which is called LTE, long-term evolution. By that we are getting good throughput. We are getting around 100 Mbps in downlink and 50 Mbps in uplink. And we are using Google Maps over here. I mean, all the latest technology. We are using Facebook, Twitter, all that thing. And in around 2015, 2016, we need a technology which can support more users base. Means the like on day to day, our user base will increasing, means more user will be added in the network. So for to carry that load in the network, we need LTE Advanced. In LTE Advanced, we are using a MIMO technology in carrier aggregation, by which we are getting more good throughput, and we can add more users, means we can load our network. After that, in 2020 beginning, like nowadays, 5G rollout is going on, integration is going on, where we have the challenges to connect every wireless device in the world. Like we want us to be connected in the world, like a connected car, IoTs, connecting homes. We are using smartwatches, everything like connected. So this is the evolution of the cellular networks. First we connect and then engage, and then we are now transforming, we are moving towards the everything on the robotic side. So this is the one. So, if we are talking about coming on the LT architecture is divided into a two part. It is evolved EU-TRAN side, evolved UTRAN, Uniform Terrestrial Radio Access Network, and one is evolved packet core side. So we have two entities in it. One is EUTRAN and one is EPC. EUTRANS is an entity which we can see it by ourselves. Like we can see UE also, and we can see eNodeBs also. eNodeB is nothing but the towers. We can see the towers on the buildings and on the like base stations. We can see it. There is no challenge in that. And the core evolved packet cores EPC side we cannot able to see, because these entities are operators. They are setting up the operators, and we need permission to go in that zone. So, I can elaborate that this EU trans side is, we have LTE, LTE, which is called a mobile, LTE mobile, which is connecting to a eNode B, which is called Evolved Node B. It is nothing just a base station, and the interface which is connecting from UE to eNode B is LTUU. We have several node Bs which are connecting by each others, and if one e node B is connecting to other e node B, it is through the X2 interface. If now we are going on the EPC side. In EPC side, we have something called MME. MME is mobility management entity. MME function is same what we are using in the 3G, which is called RNC. They are used to monitor all the activities of the eNode B, participate in the handover process, like whatever the handover request is going on, and the signaling, all the signaling goes via MME itself. So all like every eNode B is connecting via one MME. So eNode B and MME is connecting via interface called S1 MME, and eNode B is also connecting serving gateway, S gateway by S1U. As serving gateway, the role of serving gateway is to provide the IP address to do the to process the internet thing in the network. So it is connecting the same way it is connecting to the EP by S1U. And serving gateway is also connecting to the MME by S11 interface. MME is connecting to the HSS, home subscriber server. Home subscriber server is the address where where our UE is placed. Suppose I am using the Delhi network, so my home subscriber server is registered in the Delhi. So this entity HSS is noted that the UE is where the UE is based on. So it is connecting through MME by S6A interface. MME, like we have, suppose 100 UNODs are connecting with one MME, and uh, one MME can handle depend in several UNODs. So it depends on network architecture. So in our network, we have several MMEs also. So MMEs are also communicating with each other by S10 interface. So MME is communicating with other MME by S10 interface. And serving gateway is connecting with the PDN gateway by S5 S8 interface. S5 interface is used in the home network and S8 interface is used in the roaming network. When we are in the roaming network, when we are using S8 interface. PDN is a packet data network. Packet data network gateway. It's a external internet. Like we are using routers, we are using different connectors by making the use of internet. So these all function is happened by the PDN gateway. PDN gateway then again connected with the PCRF. PCRF is policy control and charging rule function. This is nothing but the charging of LTE, like whatever calls we are making, whatever data we are using, all that is recording in the PCRF, and the billing section will happen in the PCRF. It is connecting via PDN gateway by S7 interface. This is serving gateway and the PDN gateway is connect is they both are make an interface in a network, their internal network, which is called SAE gateway. It is service system architecture evolution architecture. These both are they are making this SAE gateway. So PDM gateway and PCRF is connected by S7. PCRF is then connected by the PDN, means the external core network via RX plus interface. PDN is also connecting with the PDN with GSI. So if you can see, this is a flat bottom architecture, means every node is connecting by the other node and no one is boss over here. Every node, every single entity having their own function. They are not controlled by anyone. Like in the previous technology, RNC is a boss, or SGSN or GSN is a boss of the RNC. So it is not like that over here. Every node, every like this eNode B is connecting with the IMME also and with the serving gateway also. Serving gateway is connecting by the eNode B and the PDN gateway, means every node is connecting by every entity. So this is a flat architecture. And we have something called the 3GPP, 3GPP specifications. So if you can find it, the TS23.401, TS23.402, and TS36.300. You can find this LT architecture and their evolution. 3GPP specification is nothing but the document which is given by the ETSI, European Telecom Standard Institute, by which they are governed like all the specification involved in the technology. They are maintaining that. So this is the LTE architecture. Now we came to our counterpart. What is counter? So I can elaborate. The counter is used in the KPI formulas. Like whatever the KPI formula is made, it is made up of by the counters only. Counters is a values which is collecting by the CMPM data, like the CMPM data is collecting by the eNode V every time they are monitoring and they are collecting the data, and that counter will be fetched from there only. So by the help of counters only, we are making a KPIs formulas. So likewise, it is like written over here. All the radio network counters from the eNode V and RBS are reported from the manage object and class. Okay, so these counters are made by the made from the MO class. We have several MO class in our networks. So MO class is made by the counters only. So we have around 9 type of counters with us. If we are talking about the this is the Ericsson system. What I'm going to tell you, these are counters are on the Ericsson system. Like if we are read about Nokia system or Huawei system, we have other different counters for us. But the base is same. Like whatever we are doing it, like the technology is same. Whatever we are doing it, the name is changing over here. Like over here it is PM bad coverage evolution report. So in Huawei there is some name, other name is given for this. So these all are based on the Ericsson system. So if we are talking about the first counter, which is a pack counter. Pack counter is increased every time, it is increased by 1. So this is a pack counter. So like I need to tell you first that these 5 counters, 1 to 5 counters are used on the EU trans side, and this from 6 to 9 counters are used from the ETC side. So this 6 to 9 counters we are not using it, because we are not touching the EPC counters in the RAN side. Means on the KPI side we only need to use the 1 to 5 counters. So I'm just celebrating that 1 to 5 counter. Pack counter is increased by 1 every time, and goes counter maybe it will be increased or decreased depending on the activity of the system. Means it can be increased or decreased. Means there is no specifications like if something is increasing, then it's showing increasing. If something is decreasing, that it's showing decreasing. Accumulator counter is which is having sample in it, like it is increasing. It is also, this counter is also increasing, but it is having, like it is denoted by the PM sum. Means in any counter which is having sum in it, it is called accumulator counter. Okay, now it comes for the scan counter, a counter that is increased by 1 every corresponding accumulator counter. So like it shows how many samples have been read and added to a related accumulator. A scan counter can be considered specific counter of type counter, because it is also increasing by 1, like every time it is increasing. But it we can consider it as a pack counter, but there is a difference from pack counter and a scan counter. It is also averaging the value of all the sample. It is just increasing the value. It is also by increasing also and averaging also, they are doing both the things at the same time. So this is a scan counter. So we have an example of scan counter like PM sample, number of samples. So every time whenever the counter is having sample in it, we are having a scan counter. And if we are in the fifth place, we have a PDF counter. So a list of range of values means it's a range of values where the range is coming. It's on the PDF counter. Like suppose we need to denote the interference. It's in the range. It's always comes in the range. Like it has to be in -110 to -1110. Means -110 to -120. So it must be it always be in a range. So that is the PDF counter. So the next core part is the counters for the core section is DDM, discrete distributed measurement, calculate, trigger act, trigger scan. So we are not going into that details of that, but I just mention it because this is total the nine counters type of counters is there. So basically we need to remember this: pack, gauze, accumulator, scan, and the PDF. So these are the counters. So here comes the KPIs. KPI is the key performance index, or we can call it indicator. So why we are using a KPI? Every RF engineer which are using the optimization in the which are doing the optimization in the network, maintaining the KPIs of the network. So they are going to maintain these 4 type of KPIs. One is accessibility, next is retainability, next is mobility, and next is integrity. Integrity is nothing but the throughput. Okay, so we need to maintain all that 4 KPIs in order we are not get penalty from the TRAI, Telecom Regulation Authority of India. And like every country having their own authority for the which govern the telecom. So we will go one by one, and for all that KPL, and we will see like what is the main cause to in which we are getting these like the problem in these KPIs. So if we are going to the accessibility is nothing to access the network. Suppose like I need to access, like sometime I called someone and I got a beep 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 tone, and the busy tone or the mute tone, and I can't able to I can't able to listen to that particular person. So at that time at that time I can able to access the network. So that is the accessibility problem in the network. So we need to eliminate that accessibility problem, because we are the optimization engineers. So accessibility is nothing for the UTRAN is measured for the ability of the user to obtain the ERAB from the system. Means ERAB is nothing but the evolved radio access barriers. Means the ERAB is the services. They are saying that we need to access the services from the network. So it is nothing but to access the network. So it is divided into the three parts. One is RRC connection establishment, second is S1 signaling establishment, and the next one is ERAB. So we need to like remember this. Accessibility is divided into three parts: RRC, S1, and ERAB. This is the main thing in the accessibility to access the network. And accessibility formula is this one. This is for the RRC, this is for the S1 signaling, and this is for the ERAB. So RRC is nothing but this is the counter for the RRC. PM RRC connection establishment success divided by PM RRC connection establishment attempt minus PM RRC connection establishment reattempt. And same for the S1, PM S1 signaling connection establishment success divided by PM S1 signaling connection establishment attempt. And into this is for the ERAB, PM ERAB establishment success init, PM ERAB establishment success added, PM divided by PM ERAB establishment in attempt init, PM established plus PM establishment attempt added into 100. So by calculating this, we are getting the accessibility. These all counter value we can fetch it from the system. So these are the main reasons for the poor accessibility. Poor accessibility, like we have around 10 reasons, 11 reasons for the poor accessibility. First is the poor coverage. You know that on the cell edge we are not having that much good coverage as if we are near about the cells. Cells means the towers. If we are on the cell edge, so my coverage will be get degraded. So at that time, my accessibility, there is a chances that I cannot able to access the network. For that, we need to maintain our network that we do not have any coverage hole in our network. Suppose we have if we noted down that there is a coverage hole, then we will propose a new site or we will propose a new carrier so that there will be no coverage hole, and we can eliminate that these are the like checking the intersite distance, like from cell to cell we can check the intersite distance, and we will propose a new site. Like there is a counter PM pad coverage evolution report, PM critical border evolution report, we can check that these counters. Okay, and there is a change means we can change this parameters also. There are parameters, there are counters is the values, and parameters we can change the parameters to set the different I can say that parameters is like a medicine. We can give the medicine to eliminate the blood to increase or decrease the blood sugar. We can maintain them. So we can say that these are the parameters are used to maintain the KPIs. We can change the values of the parameters depend on our need. So changing the QRX level pin. So its value is 120 dBm, and we can set it to 110 dBm so as to discard the bad coverage. I can show you what is RX level QRX level min is. So I have taken the snapshot over here. If you can see that this is the site name TNL. This is a AT&T site, and if I fire a command which is called get.qrx11, so I'm getting these like this the value of the QRX level bin. So it's come on the relation wise. So this is the FDD cell, my source cell, and this is the relation of every cell. This is relation cell ID. Okay, so QRX11 main is set 124, and over here I told that QRX11 main is 120. So we have a scope of optimize over here QRX11 main, because 120 one like 120, it is showing 120, but over here I'm getting the value 124. So we can set it to 120, or we can set it to 115 or 110. Then we can improve our poor coverage issue. Okay, the next part is alarm. If the site is having alarm on it, then our my KPI, accessibility KPI, will degrade it. Alarm, it should be alarm free. Site should be alarm free. I'll told you what is that alarm is. Like suppose I fire a command which is called ALT over here. So ALT will show the alarm. How many alarms is there? It's showing total one alarm, zero critical, zero major. Means nothing is major, nothing is critical, but alarm is there. What is that alarm is? External link failure, enode v function equal to 1, x2 link problem on one of the several enode v, neighboring enode v's. Okay, so this should be eliminated. This can impact our KPIs. So this is the one. The next is high load. If the site is overloaded or having high load, so it is a probability that if the new customer will come, new user will come, then he cannot able to access the network. The site should be not highly loaded or overloaded. So if it is overloaded or highly loaded, then we can if we can propose a new carrier over there, or we can enhance our users limit. We can update it license. So all these features we can eliminate our high load thing. And there is a counters like PMRRC connection fail, high load, PMRRC establishment load, like that. We can use this. Okay, and we that the load is also we are getting we can check it from GUI print admitted. GUI print admitted, we can check that the current active users on the site.